Welcome to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This is a demo on how to deploy VM series Fortigate Firewall High Availability by using OCI Marketplace Image. Before you begin, ensure that the required policies to manage an instance, VCN, and specific policies mentioned in this demo are added at compartment level. You also need understanding on hub and spoke model setup in OCI as a prerequisite. For this demo, I have used Marketplace Image of FortiGate Next Gen Firewall 4 cores. Please note that we have already set up the hub and spoke model. Initially, I'll explain my hub and spoke model setup. Here we have two VCNs, Firewall VCN and Spoke VCN in OCI tenancy. In Firewall VCN, we have created two FortiGate firewall instances which are connected to internet via Untrust subnet, and we connect Spoke VCN via DRG. On Spoke VCN, we have created a virtual machine for testing in private subnet. We are going to demonstrate connection to Spoke VCN's private VM to internet via NAT on firewall, SSH connection to Spoke VCN's private VM via internet using virtual IP in firewall. Next, let's see routing in firewall VCN. We have created four subnets, namely management, untrust, trust, and HA subnet. Here, please note the port numbers that I'll use for the respective subnets on both firewalls which are in HA. On the management subnet route table, we have the route related to respective source IP by which we will access the firewall on GUI or CLI. On the untrust subnet route table, we have route related to internet via internet gateway and spoke VCN via DRG. On the trust subnet route table, add a default route to DRG. On the HA subnet route table, we are not adding any route. For DRG attachment in firewall VCN, a newly created route table, firewall VCN ingress, is added. It sends all the traffic to firewall via trust interface from spoke VCN. Further, we are looking at DRG related attachments on VCN. Please note two DRG route tables are attached to respective VCNs. DRG route table of spoke VCN has static entry of all traffic from spoke VCN which are diverted toward firewall VCN. DRG routes on firewall VCN have imported all the routes related to firewall VCN and spoke VCN. Going forward, we have VNIC on primary and secondary FortiGate firewall. On primary firewall, we have 4 VNIC created for each subnet. However, we will create secondary IP only on untrust and trust VNICs. Also, checkmark the skip source and destination on untrust and trust VNICs. On the secondary firewall, we will create 4 VNICs, but we are not going to add secondary IPs to trust and untrust subnet. Finally, we have spoke VCN route pointing to default route of DRG so that all the traffic is routed via firewall. Please note that one of the common mistakes that is made while configuring FortiGate HA is IAM policies. I have configured these policies to allow external fabric connector to be able to connect Oracle backend API. For more information about the policies, please check the documentation mentioned in the video description. Now let's proceed with the demo of FortiGate instances. I have logged in into primary firewall, and according to the number of VNICs attached to OCI instances, we see 4 ports. We have updated respective ports with aliases and respective IPs. Note that we are using secondary IP in trust and untrust ports, which are assigned on the instance levels. We will not be adding secondary IPs on the respective ports in firewall. I have 2 static entries with respective gateway IPs. That is, one route to reach internet via untrust port gateway IP, another route to reach spoke VCN via trust port gateway IP. Coming to security policies, I have created 2 policies. One for spoke VCN to reach internet via the NAT on firewall, that is from port 3 to port 2. Second policy for using firewall virtual IP to log in to spoke VCN server. If you run firewall VIP command in CLI, we'll get the following. External port on firewall 1234 of Untrust interface is mapped to port 22 of spoke instance private IP. Coming to policy configuration, note that I have used the same firewall virtual IP object web VM in the policy that will provide access. Since routes and policies are in place, let's verify traffic routing via firewall by packet capture. I have already logged in into private Linux server in Spoke VCN, and as you can see, I can ping 8.8.8.8 and we can notice the traffic is routed via firewall. Now I'll access the Linux server in Spoke VCN using virtual IP of the firewall. You can see the login is successful and traffic is routed via firewall. Please note that I have external fabric connector status up as I have added configuration of tenancy and compartment. Now I will test this with diagnosis test application OCID1 command on CLI. It should update my compartment name. This tells me that OCI API and Fortigate Fabric connector is working fine for HA on primary device. While checking HA status on primary, we notice it is not in synced yet with secondary Fortigate. Now let's log in to the secondary firewall, but there is no configs for untrust IPs, routing, policy, or virtual IP. The only config I have updated is HA and management ports. Now I'll sync both the firewalls by mentioning the correct HA peer IP on secondary firewall, which was intentionally removed from cluster for demo. Before that, let me show you the status of Fabric connector. So Fabric connector status is up and diagnose test application OCID1 command on CLI shows us Vivek, which says Fabric connector is connected. Update the IP on HA to correct peer IP. After few minutes, we can see that config is in sync. Notice that untrust and trust IPs are also synced and updated. Now let's shut down the primary firewall by stopping it on OCI console manually. You can see that primary firewall is stopped and I have started packet capture on secondary firewall already, and we are still waiting for packets to go. So here we can see the packets are moving via secondary firewall. The failure has been completed. Now let's test the SSH access. Here also it has started again. Now let's check the HA status here. So we can see that it is not in sync and our secondary is primary device. Now before bringing the primary device back, we'll run few commands on Fortigate B so that we can see that the HA communication is happening when this Fortigate Firewall A comes up. And since override is enabled, the primary takes up primary firewall. I'll start the firewall. This is starting. Let's enable debug. I'll initiate the ping again. This is my private access to the private VM from another way. It's not from via firewall, but we are pinging 8.8 via firewall. We'll do packet capture on B and we can notice it stops. You can see the requests are going and the HA status has become secondary. Now we can notice that the packet capture has stopped. Our primary has taken its roll back. We'll log into this device again. You're able to see that packets are going via primary firewall. Let's check the HA status. It's back in sync. Let's check in Fortigate Firewall B. It is also back in sync. I hope this demo helps. Please go through the lab documents mentioned in the description as well. Thanks for watching. Please contact OCI customer support if you still need any assistance. Thank you.